Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a really powerful idea, cyclical resource management. It's all about shifting our thinking, moving past this throwaway world we've built, and starting to design things in a way that actually works with nature, not against it. So let's start with a super simple question, one you've probably thought about before. When you throw something away, where does away actually go? The thing is, there is no away. And that one simple, kind of unsettling fact, well, it points to a massive design flaw in how our entire world works. And this design flaw? We can think of it like a one-way street. A system that just takes and takes from the planet, and it only leads to one place, a dead end. You know? The landfill. This is what's called the linear system. It's the engine of our modern economy, and it's pretty simple. Take, make, waste. This whole cradle-to-grave model is built on two really dangerous ideas. One, that the Earth's resources are endless, and two, that we have infinite space to dump our trash. And as we're about to see, both of those assumptions are just fundamentally wrong. So what's the real-world cost of this one-way thinking? Well, the consequences aren't just theory anymore. We can actually measure them, and the numbers are pretty clear. We are living way beyond our planet's budget. To really get a handle on our impact, we can use a tool called the ecological footprint. You can think of it like a planetary accounting system, almost like a bank statement for Earth. It calculates everything we consume and all the waste we produce, and then it figures out how much of the planet's productive area we actually need to support all that activity. So what is this planetary bank statement telling us? Well, the bottom line is staggering. Right now, humanity is using resources 1.5 times faster than the Earth can regenerate them. To put that another way, every single year, by around August, we've already used up our entire resource budget for the whole year. We're running an ecological deficit, basically borrowing from the future just to live today. And this just totally exposes the flaw in our thinking. This whole idea of infinite growth just smacks right into the hard wall of reality. I mean, the economist Kenneth Boulding put it perfectly. Anyone who believes that exponential growth can go on forever in a finite world is either a madman or an economist. The math just doesn't add up. But what if there's a better way? What if, instead of this dead-end street, we built our economy like a circle? This is the whole idea of closing the loop, a model that's inspired by the most successful, most sustainable system on the entire planet, nature itself. Just think about it for a second. In a forest, there are no garbage dumps. A fallen leaf isn't waste, right? It's food for microbes, which then enrich the soil. Everything gets recycled. Nature runs on this absolutely perfect closed-loop system where every single output is just an input for something else. And here you can see the two systems side by side. The difference is night and day. On the left, you've got our current linear model, defined by taking resources and making waste. And on the right, that's the goal. A closed-loop, cyclical model where waste is really just a resource in the wrong place, and materials flow in a continuous cradle-to-cradle cycle. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in practice? Let's take this cyclical thinking and apply it to one of our most critical resources by rethinking water's flow. This is really the heart of watershed management. So instead of building these huge concrete channels that just rush rainwater out to sea as fast as possible, that's the linear way, we do the complete opposite. We slow the water down, we store it, and maybe most importantly, we let it soak back into the ground to refill our natural underground reserves. We're working with the water cycle, not fighting it. Now let's take that exact same logic and apply it to the stuff we make. What if we stopped seeing waste as just something that happens and started seeing it for what it really is? A failure of imagination, a failure of design, a misplaced resource. This leads to this really amazing concept called industrial symbiosis. It's where we literally design industrial systems to work like natural ecosystems. So imagine the extra steam from a power plant is used to heat a local greenhouse, or the byproduct from one factory becomes the main ingredient for another. It's creating an industrial web where ideally nothing is wasted. This creates a whole new way of thinking, a hierarchy for how we handle materials. Let's use plastic as an example. The number one priority is reuse. Can we keep using it as a bottle? If not, okay. The next best thing is to recycle it into another product. And only as a last resort, when its value is pretty much gone, should we convert it into something like fuel. The whole idea is to keep materials at their highest possible value for as long as possible. So what does all of this really add up to? Look, this isn't about just making a few small tweaks here and there. It's about a complete reimagining of how we approach design, production, and consumption on a global scale.
You see, the ultimate goal here is to shift our whole mindset from just being less bad, using a little less energy, creating a little less pollution, to being actively good. That means designing products and systems that from the very beginning are meant to be part of a regenerative, circular flow that actually makes the world around them better.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If we really truly adopt this new perspective, that waste is just a resource we haven't figured out how to use yet, then every single overflowing trash can, every landfill, isn't just a problem. It's a massive, squandered opportunity. What potential are we literally throwing away every single day?